Welcome to the third episode of Git Push Force with your host, Paul. That's me. And in this episode, we're going to kind of take a step back and go over a few simple questions, such as what is tech, what is AI, and what is I? I stands for intelligence. And what is SI? That's superintelligence. And these questions kind of talk about what happened before, what's going on now, and where's the future headed. So I'm going to try to keep it under 10 minutes. That means that without further ado, let's just dive into this question. We're not really sure, or I'm not really sure, what tech is. I mean, I know tech has something to do with software engineering, maybe, automation, but pretty much any business that you can think of is tech. You're supporting hardware, software, user support, building, delivering, I don't know, cloud stuff. I think in my mind, I don't know if any of you played Warcraft 3, but in Warcraft 3 you have a tech tree. In a lot of games you have a tech tree where you're kind of developing, you're building for the future, you're advancing your tech tiers, you're moving up. So maybe in some ways it's kind of related to building for the future, but I mean, Amazon, Facebook, you just look at pictures. Amazon, you just deliver stuff in a box to your door. What's the big deal with that? Airbnb, you rent a place. I mean, hotels have been around since the dawn of time. You have taxi cars since forever. What's the big deal with Airbnb? I think kind of taking a step back and looking at what is the value proposition of tech, and in a related question, why do tech jobs pay so much? So there's in all of history, there's doing something, and then there's making something that does something. In a certain sense, that's technology, that's automation, where I mean, you can have something, right, like a watch, you can have something like a tool. And so, in a certain sense, that's technology. You can use that for something, you can look at it, you can enjoy it. But once you get to the point where you're building things that build other things, or that maintain other things, or that somehow interact with other things on your behalf, and where your participation with that thing is minimal, then I think that's where you kind of get into tech. If we look at the definition itself, I think it doesn't really, I mean, technology and educational institution, technical, it doesn't really tell you what that is and why it's a thing. So I think keep in mind you're automating. And when you move to the frontier of automation, you're automating automation itself. You're not just building software, you're building things that build software. You're not just building infrastructure, you're building things that build infrastructure. And maybe this is like a recursive stack. You step up a couple levels, you build things that build things that build things. And in the end, you get to something like AI, where, AI is going to take all our jobs. Well, when we get to the frontiers of what's possible with our technology, with the things that we do, we kind of learn how to push those frontiers, how to develop the skills to do something more than what we've done before. So, in my mind, tech is automating things that humans used to do. So, one example that I like to think of is typesetting. Back in the day, and that's not too long ago, you used to have people that would take type. I think it's called type. These things that were either letters or words, and arrange them in such a way so that you could print. Like the Gutenberg press used type, as far as I know. And newspapers, up until, I don't know, a couple decades ago, used type. And then Microsoft Word came around, all that software, all that technology came around, and it made typesetting a thing of the past, because now a computer could typeset stuff virtually and then print it with high-tech printers, new innovations. And there's been a trend of kind of moving from actually having humans move things and do things to, I don't want to say quite computers, but virtual agents, programs, functions, systems. So, what is intelligence then? And how does this relate to tech? I think the value proposition of tech is really intelligencing, uh, I don't know if that's quite a definition that is typically used for, but the ability to acquire and apply knowledge and skills. So when things apply the knowledge and skills that humans have, you kind of bake it into something. So now you're not the one that has to do something. You just think about what needs to be done. You set it up in such a way that it does it. In a certain sense, that's been intelligence. It's sort of intelligent. It kind of does something related to our cognitive capacity, to putting thoughts into action, to putting intent into action. I really don't know how to explain intelligence. I mean, we can ask some AI, what is intelligence? But what I'm trying to get at is, I don't know if there's such a difference between artificial intelligence and regular human intelligence or non-artificial intelligence. We have such things as reasoning, memory, pattern recognition, maybe abstract thinking. Of course, we're at a point now where computers reason. They have memory, they have pattern recognition, they have abstract thinking. So there's really not. We've kind of skipped over the whole Turing test thing, and we're at a point now where large language models are essentially intelligent. We've had intelligent hardware, we've had intelligent software, things that have put human knowledge and skills and expertise into action. So I think this idea of AI and intelligence actually comes from this way of thinking that's pre-AI. Before we had all these things that just push the frontiers of what computers or systems or non-human systems essentially do, we used to think of it as, oh, that's artificial intelligence because our printers aren't intelligent, our software systems are maybe, you have iMac, you have iPhone, they're kind of intelligent, but they're not really intelligent in the way that a human is. Well, now a lot of them are. And then that kind of brings us into the next question of what is superintelligence? We have intelligence, we have various levels of intelligence for things, for humans, I mean, it's undeniable that not everything's the same. But, we have such things as emotional intelligence, we have spatial intelligence, abstract reasoning, all types of different ways that you can do different things in the world and that your ideas or your ways of acting are connected. So moving into superintelligence, that's not really sure. I don't know if anyone. I'm not sure if anyone really knows what superintelligence is. It's kind of this catch-all term for something beyond what we have now and what we can even possibly think of. So it's a hypothetical form of intelligence that exceeds human cognitive abilities. I mean, if it exceeds our abilities, how can we even possibly imagine that? So it's kind of like you don't know what you don't know, but this is a catch-all term that kind of puts it over there. That's not to say that it can't be a thing, but we humans have been super intelligencing for a long, long time. We've been pushing the boundaries of what's possible to think about, what's possible to know. And once you push those boundaries, you bring it back to everyone else. It's kind of like, yeah, it's always been this way. Like we've always had the number 0, right? When did the number 0 get invented? So then the question is, what is the value proposition of all this stuff? So if tech is automating things that humans do, we automate that with software. Well, why can't software be automated? It can. I mean, you have AI agents now that are doing all types of coding. I've been playing around with them. They're incredible in my mind. I know some people disagree, but to each their own. There's levels of things that we've learned to automate. Like Ruby on Rails came out, and now you could do a whole software service in a day that would have taken maybe weeks or a month beforehand. You have infrastructure as code, you have DevOps, you have all types of stuff that is just, you no longer have to write and do it and log into a computer and set it up. You just write a script, or you write a little program, or you write a little bit of scaffolding, and now you have things that generate that scaffolding. You have things that generate the things that generate the scaffolding. we are moving towards a future of intent, I think. I know I've seen videos on this by others where this idea of programming with type, where we're moving computer type around and just kind of like setting it in place and then having the computer take that and do all types of things with it, it's a bit low level and it's not really like we're skilled at it. There's definitely a lot of skill that humans have, but it's not maybe what we're meant to do or what we're really what our competitive advantages as intelligent agents in this world. Computers are much better at logical reasoning, at following rules, at even sometimes at being creative. So, where does that leave us? Well, I think beyond the realm of automation is something called autopoiesis. And this is maybe a topic that's a bit too much to get into in this video. But the idea, developed by Chilean biologist Umberto Maturana and Francisco Varela in the 1970s, this was kind of coming from a point of the whole cybernetics revolution of first-tier AI, of all these thoughts of systems where they're self-regulating systems within systems that model themselves, that reflect upon themselves. Somehow it's tied into cognition. They came out with a paper called Autopoiesis in Cognition. So this is the idea of self-creation, poiesis like poetry, self-creation or production, a system that makes the means of making itself. So this is like a human being, this is a frog, something that builds the cellular architecture and structure and organs and the whole self-reflective fractal type of system with cognitive components and stuff like that, that maintains itself, that produces itself, and that is sort of closed into a unit. Like, I'm me, you're you, that's that. We're different. Somehow we're all connected together. We're tied. We're resonating with the way we talk, with the way we interact with ourselves, with our environment. But somehow we maintain a boundary within ourselves. Classic example is the cell, but also maybe companies, maybe societies, maybe nations, maybe states, maybe communities. It's not so clear. Maybe these are kind of like partial autopoietic systems. But the idea is moving from just something that does something to something that maintains a form or a structure. So this is kind of like we're maintaining a good world. We're maintaining a good sort of community or society that we want to live in and work in, and we're making sure that all types of intelligent agents act correctly and they don't just try to do like the fastest mental computation and the most abstract reasoning they can do. That this is AI governance, that their ways of being and interacting with the world and reasoning are tied to an ecological approach where things fit together, where there's a circle of intent, where things are shared, where it's sort of communal and where it works, where you have the ability to move up, to move down in the social hierarchy, but it's not like a tyrannical kind of just, I'm going to tell everyone what to do, I'm going to take over the whole world, and I'm going to make a fuck ton of paper clips. Excuse the language. So I know this is kind of a high level, maybe there's not enough cool pictures or anything like that, but hopefully this will give you a little bit of an idea of an introduction to tech, to AI, to superintelligence, why these are kind of tied together. And I think in my mind, when I think of intelligence, I think of things that are connected. Connection, that's intelligence, where you're not just choosing what to do, but you're tied to systems. You're sort of connected to things. That's the web, that's social relations, you're connected to the history of thought, of math, whatever. Bostrom, big guy in superintelligence. And also the whole, what was that, we're all living in a simulation thing? Anyway, this is episode 3 of Git Push Force with your host, me, Paul. And until next time, have a good one.